The breaking point. The Grand Assembly Hall of the Galactic Coalition stretched across 3 kilometers of polished crystalline floor. Ambassador Dr. Helena Vargas stood at the human delegation platform, her dark eyes scanning the massive chamber. Around her, representatives from 47 different species occupied their designated spaces. Some floated in containment fields, others rested on platforms designed for their unique physiologies. The air hummed with translation devices converting thousands of languages into comprehensible communication. Helena had served as Earth's chief ambassador for 8 years. She had negotiated trade agreements, resolved disputes, and built friendships across the stars. Today felt different. The emergency session had been called with only 6 hours' notice. No agenda had been provided, no explanation given. The chamber fell silent as High Chancellor Mordeth rose from the central dais. The Valorian leader stood 4 meters tall, his silver skin reflecting the light from above. His species had founded the Galactic Coalition 3,000 years ago. They prided themselves on wisdom and fairness. "This assembly is called to order," Mordeth announced, his voice carrying through every translation device. "We gather today to address a matter of galactic security and cultural preservation." Helena felt her stomach tighten. Those words never meant anything good, the announcement that changed everything. Mordeth's 6 eyes swept across the chamber before settling on the human delegation. "For the past century, we have observed humanity's integration into galactic society with great interest. Your species has shown remarkable adaptability and innovation. However, this very quality has raised concerns among the elder races." Helena stepped forward. "High Chancellor, what concerns are you referring to?" "Ambassador Vargas, in 100 years, humanity has advanced technologically at a rate unprecedented in galactic history." Mordeth continued. "You have reverse-engineered technologies that took other species millennia to develop. You have modified alien designs to create hybrid systems we have never imagined. Your growth is exponential and frankly alarming." Murmurs rippled through the assembly. Helena noticed that several delegations who usually supported humanity were now avoiding her gaze. Therefore, the Coalition Council has drafted Resolution 7749, the Cultural Preservation and Technological Stabilization Act, Mordeth declared. This resolution requires humanity to participate in a mandatory preservation program designed to protect your unique cultural identity while ensuring galactic stability. Helena's blood ran cold. "Preservation program? High Chancellor, please clarify what that means." A holographic document appeared in the center of the chamber. Helena read the terms with growing horror. Humanity would be required to surrender all advanced weapon systems to Coalition oversight. Human vessels would be limited to sublight speeds within Coalition space. All human colonies beyond the Sol system would accept Coalition administrators. Most devastating of all, humanity would be prohibited from developing new technologies without Coalition approval for the next 500 years. Betrayal in the chamber. "This is absurd," Helena's voice cut through the murmurs. "You're asking us to surrender our sovereignty, to become a protectorate, stripped of our rights as a Coalition member." "We are asking you to slow down," Mordeth replied calmly. "Your rapid advancement destabilizes the carefully balanced order we have maintained for thousands of years. This is for your own protection as much as ours." Helena looked around the chamber desperately. "Ambassador Krill, the Zenthari people have been our allies for 50 years. Surely you see this is wrong." The insectoid ambassador shifted uncomfortably in his containment field. "The Zenthari delegation believes the resolution serves the greater good. We abstain from opposing it." One by one, Helena called out to species that humanity had helped. The Mirren, whose colony humanity had saved from a plague. The Torvan, whose economy had been revitalized by human trade partnerships. The Kelsh, whose exploration vessels humanity had rescued from a collapsing star system. Every single one found reasons to support the resolution or abstain. Not one spoke in humanity's defense. "I see," Helena said quietly. Then her voice grew stronger, echoing through the vast chamber. "So this is how galactic justice works. We save your people, trade fairly, follow every law and regulation, and the moment we become inconvenient, you cage us." "Ambassador, your dramatic rhetoric does not change facts," Mordeth said. "The vote will proceed. All in favor of Resolution 7749. Helena watched the voting display light up. 42 species voted yes. 4 abstained. Only one voted no, and that was humanity itself. The truth revealed. This vote is illegal under Coalition Charter, Helena declared. Article 12 guarantees all member species the right to self-determination. You cannot impose these restrictions without proof of actual harm. The potential for harm is sufficient, Mordeth replied. The resolution passes with overwhelming support. Humanity has 90 days to begin compliance. This session is adjourned. Helena refused to move from her platform. Why? Tell me the real reason. We both know this isn't about cultural preservation. Mordeth paused in his exit. For a moment, something flickered across his face. Respect, perhaps, or regret. You want the truth, Ambassador? Very well. In 3,000 years, no species has ever advanced as quickly as humanity. The Valorians took 2,000 years to develop faster than light travel. Humans did it in 300. We created quantum computing over 8 centuries. You replicated it in 50 years after seeing our systems. He moved closer to Helena's platform. 5 years ago, your scientists published a theoretical paper on dimensional folding technology. Do you understand what that means? It took our greatest minds 12 centuries to even conceive of such theories. Your species did it as an academic exercise by a university graduate student. So you're punishing us for being good learners? Helena challenged. We are protecting the existing order, Mordeth said coldly. In another century, at your current pace, humanity will possess technology that surpasses every elder race. In 2 centuries, you will dominate this galaxy. The Coalition cannot allow a single species to upset the balance of power we have carefully maintained. Helena stared at him. You're not afraid we'll harm you. You're afraid we'll surpass you. This is about pride and control. Call it what you wish. The decision is made. Comply or face expulsion from the Coalition and economic sanctions. Your choice, Ambassador. Mordeth walked away, leaving Helena standing alone in the massive chamber. Emergency response. Helena returned to Earth's orbital station 12 hours later. She transmitted her report directly to Geneva, where the United Earth government maintained its headquarters. By the time her ship docked, an emergency session of the Security Council was already underway. She materialized via hologram into the council chamber. 15 faces looked back at her, representing Earth's major regions and colony worlds. Secretary General James Okoye spoke first. Ambassador Vargas, we've reviewed your report. The implications are staggering. They're trying to cage us, Mr. Secretary, Helena said bluntly. They want to freeze human development for 500 years because we're advancing too quickly for their comfort. Can we comply? Asked Counselor Zhang Wei from the Mars delegation. Perhaps if we slow down, demonstrate we're not a threat. No. The firm voice belonged to General David Chen, commander of the United Earth Defense Force. He stood near the back of the chamber, his weathered face grave. If we comply, we surrender everything that makes us competitive. In 500 years, every other species will have continued advancing while we stagnated. We'll be so far behind we'll never catch up. But if we refuse, they'll expel us from the Coalition, argued Counselor Amara Osei from the African Union. We'll lose access to trade routes, diplomatic protections, everything we've built. Helena took a deep breath. There's something else. Before I left, I accessed classified Coalition databases. I shouldn't have, but I needed to know if there was more to this. She transmitted a data file to the Council. 3 years ago, long-range Coalition surveys detected massive deposits of element 0 in the outer regions of human space. E0 is the most valuable substance in the galaxy, used in everything from medical technology to starship construction. The Council members studied the data in stunned silence. The deposits in human territory dwarf anything found elsewhere in known space, Helena continued. If we maintain our sovereignty and mining rights, humanity will control approximately 60% of galactic E0 within 50 years. The elder races can't allow that. This resolution isn't just about our technology. It's about taking control of our resources before we realize their value. The Hidden Strength Secretary General Okoye turned to General Chen. General, hypothetically, if we refuse the resolution, could we defend ourselves? General Chen was quiet for a long moment. Then he said, Mr. Secretary, I need to brief the Council on a classified program. Authorization code Chen Delta 779er. Security protocols engaged, sealing the chamber from any external monitoring. Chen pulled up a holographic display showing scattered installations across human space. 20 years ago, When humanity first joined the coalition, some of us were concerned about potential threats. We advocated for a contingency program, something the coalition wouldn't know about. The program was approved by a secret vote and buried in black budget allocations. We called it the Human Defense Initiative. The display showed hidden military stations, advanced weapons platforms, and vessel designs unlike anything in the official fleet. For 2 decades, we've been developing technology independently of coalition oversight. We've built weapon systems based on theories the coalition considers impossible. We've trained special forces units in tactics no one expects from humans. And we've constructed a fleet that officially doesn't exist. Counselor Zhang leaned forward. How large is this fleet? 200 vessels ranging from frigates to dreadnoughts. They're stationed in uncharted systems, powered down to avoid detection. We also have 16,000 special operations personnel trained for asymmetric warfare in space environments. The chamber erupted with shocked voices. Secretary General Okoye raised his hand for silence. General Chen, are you suggesting we go to war with the Galactic Coalition? I'm suggesting we have options beyond compliance or isolation, Chen replied. The Coalition believes humans are primitive upstarts who got lucky with a few inventions. They think our military is small and our ships are outdated. They're wrong on both counts. If they push us, we can push back. Helena looked at the general with new respect. You've been planning for this. I've been planning for the day when the galaxy realized humans were dangerous and tried to put us in chains, Chen said. Looks like that day has arrived. The final choice, Secretary General Okoye stood, his face showing the weight of the decision before them. The coalition has given us 90 days. We need to decide our path forward. Compliance means survival but slavery. Resistance means war but freedom. We need more information, Helena said. Let me return to coalition space. I'll work diplomatic channels, see if any species might secretly support us. Meanwhile, General Chen should prepare the defense initiative for activation. And if diplomacy fails? Okoye asked. Helena's eyes were hard. Then we show the galaxy what happens when you corner the most stubborn species in existence. Humans didn't crawl out of caves, survive ice ages, and reach the stars just to be told we're growing too fast. If the coalition wants us contained, they're going to learn a painful lesson. What lesson is that? Counselor Ose asked quietly. That the most dangerous thing in the universe isn't advanced technology or ancient wisdom, Helena replied. It's a human being who's been told they can't do something. We've been underestimated before. Every time we've proven the doubters wrong. This time won't be different, General Chen nodded approvingly. The coalition thinks they know us. They've studied our history, our psychology, our culture, but they've made a critical error. What's that? Secretary General Okoye asked. They studied us during peacetime, Chen said grimly. They have no idea what humans are like when you threaten everything we've built. They're about to find out. The ultimatum delivered 6 weeks later. Helena stood in her quarters aboard the Earth diplomatic vessel Determination, reviewing reports from across coalition space. Her attempts at building support had failed completely. Every species she contacted expressed sympathy but refused to help. The coalition's economic pressure was too great, their military too powerful. Her communication panel chimed. High Chancellor Mordeth's face appeared on the screen. Ambassador Vargas, I'm transmitting the official compliance timeline. Coalition administrators will arrive at your colonies in 45 days. Your military vessels must report to designated coalition facilities for decommissioning in 30 days. Failure to comply will result in immediate sanctions and potential military action. Helena looked at him steadily. High Chancellor, I have one question. In 3,000 years, has any species ever voluntarily accepted terms like these? Mordeth hesitated. No. Those who refused were eventually convinced through economic pressure or limited military intervention. And none of them ever fought back? Really fought, I mean. None had the capacity. By the time we imposed restrictions, they understood the futility of resistance. Helena smiled, and it wasn't a pleasant expression. Then you've made your first mistake. You're assuming humans will behave like everyone else. We won't. Ambassador, I urge you to reconsider. The coalition's military power is overwhelming. Resistance is genuinely futile. Maybe, Helena acknowledged. But humans have a saying. I'd rather die on my feet than live on my knees. You wanted to know what makes us different from other species? You're about to find out. She terminated the connection and opened a channel to Earth. Secretary General Okoye appeared immediately. Helena? Diplomacy has failed, Mr. Secretary. Every door is closed. The Coalition expects complete compliance in 30 days. Okoye nodded slowly. The Council has voted. We will not comply. General Chen is activating the defense initiative as we speak. Helena felt a chill run down her spine. They were really doing this. Humanity was about to challenge the most powerful alliance in the galaxy. Mr. Secretary, one more thing. I want to address the Coalition Assembly one final time. Make them understand what they're starting. Approved. Make it count, Ambassador. 3 days later, Helena stood once again in the Grand Assembly Hall. The chamber was packed. Every species wanted to hear humanity's response. High Chancellor Mordeth looked down at her. Ambassador Vargas, you requested this session. The Coalition is prepared to hear humanity's statement of compliance. Helena looked around the chamber, meeting the eyes of species who had been friends and allies. Then she spoke, her voice clear and unwavering. High Chancellor, members of the Coalition, humanity's answer is no. We will not surrender our sovereignty. We will not limit our growth. We will not become a protectorate. We reject Resolution 7749 completely. The chamber erupted in chaos. Mordeth's voice boomed over the noise. Ambassador, you understand this means expulsion from the Coalition and potential military action? We understand perfectly, Helena replied. But understand this. You've made a critical miscalculation. You studied human history and saw violence and conflict. You concluded we were dangerous, but you missed the most important lesson. Every time humanity has been pushed to the edge, every time we've faced impossible odds, every time someone has tried to cage us or break us or make us submit, we've done the same thing. She paused, letting the silence build. We've fought back, and we've won, not because we were stronger or smarter or more advanced. We won because we refused to quit. Because we adapted, because when you push a human into a corner, they don't surrender. They get creative, they get angry, and they get dangerous. Helena's voice grew harder. You want to see humanity contained? Come and try. Send your fleets. Send your armies. You'll find out what every other force in our history learned. It's easy to start a war with humans. It's impossible to win one. She looked directly at Mordeth. You think you know us. You don't. You're about to start a war with a species that fought world wars with primitive weapons, survived nuclear standoffs, and reached the stars through sheer stubborn determination. You're about to discover why every predator that ever hunted humans went extinct while we conquered a planet. Helena turned to leave, then stopped. One last thing. When this is over, when you're negotiating surrender terms, remember this moment. Remember that you had a choice. You could have treated us as equals. You chose subjugation instead. Everything that happens next is on you. She walked out of the chamber, leaving stunned silence behind her. In orbit around Earth, General Chen received the signal. He opened a secure channel to 200 hidden vessels scattered across human space. All units, this is Chen. Authorization code Prometheus Alpha 1. Wake up and prepare for combat operations. The Reckoning Protocol is now active. Show them what humans can do. Across dozens of star systems, hidden stations powered up. Crews emerged from suspended animation. Weapons that officially didn't exist came online. Humanity's secret fleet awakened, ready for war. The galaxy was about to learn a painful lesson. You could push humans. You could threaten them. You could try to cage them, but you couldn't break them, and trying would cost you everything. The reckoning begins. 3 months had passed since Ambassador Helena Vargas walked out of the Coalition Assembly. 3 months of diplomatic silence as the galaxy held its breath. The Coalition had issued warnings, economic sanctions, and travel restrictions. Humanity had ignored them all. Now the waiting was over. The Mars Incident Captain Michael Torres stood in the command center of Olympus City, Mars's largest settlement. 2 million people called this sprawling metropolis home, built into the red planet's canyons and underground caverns. Through the reinforced windows he could see the rust-colored landscape stretching to the horizon. Captain, we have multiple contacts entering Mars orbit, Lieutenant Sarah Kim announced from her sensor station. Coalition signatures. Looks like 3 cruisers and a dozen support vessels. Torres had been expecting this. Mars Colony was humanity's crown jewel outside Earth, a symbol of human achievement. The Coalition would come here first to make their statement. A communication request flashed on the main screen. Torres accepted it. The face of a Valorian commander appeared, his silver skin gleaming under his ship's lights. This is Commander Seth of the Coalition Enforcement Fleet. Under authority of Resolution 7749, we are here to assume administrative control of Mars colony. Prepare to receive our transition team. Any resistance will be met with appropriate force. Torres stood straighter. Commander Seth, this is Captain Michael Torres of the Mars Colonial Defense Force. Mars colony is sovereign human territory. You have no authority here. Leave our space immediately. Seth's expression hardened. Captain, you cannot be serious. Your entire defense force consists of perhaps 20 outdated patrol craft. My fleet alone could level your city. Stand down. No, Torres said simply. You want Mars? Come and take it. He cut the transmission and turned to his crew. All personnel to battle stations. Activate the defense grid. Send the signal to General Chen. Tell him the Coalition just made their first mistake. The defense grid awakens. What Commander Seth didn't know was that Mars held secrets. For 15 years, human engineers had been modifying the planet's infrastructure. Commercial mining lasers had been retrofitted with military-grade targeting systems. Automated cargo launchers had been converted into missile platforms. Civilian satellites had been equipped with weapons. Every building, every dome, every structure on Mars had been designed with dual purpose in mind. The Coalition was about to discover that they weren't attacking a defenseless colony. They were attacking a fortress that had been preparing for this exact moment. They're launching dropships, Lieutenant Kim reported. 30 vessels heading for Olympus City. Let them get close, Torres ordered. Wait until they're committed. The Coalition dropships descended through the thin Martian atmosphere, confident in their superiority. At 5,000 meters altitude, Torres gave the order. All batteries open fire. Mars erupted. Hidden weapons emplacements revealed themselves as they unleashed devastating firepower. Mining lasers designed to cut through solid rock tore through Coalition shields like paper. Missiles launched from concealed silos streaked upward, their trajectories calculated by some of the most advanced targeting AI in human space. 12 Coalition dropships exploded before they realized what was happening. The remaining vessels tried to retreat but found themselves in a kill box. Every escape route was covered by overlapping fields of fire. Commander Seth watched in horror from orbit as his assault force was annihilated. How? How do they have this kind of firepower? His tactical officer's voice shook. Commander, I'm detecting hundreds of weapon signatures across the planet's surface. This isn't a colony. It's a military installation. Impossible. Our intelligence showed civilian infrastructure only. Sir, they're targeting us now. From Mars's surface, massive railguns opened fire. These weren't standard weapons. They were experimental systems developed in secret, using principles that Coalition scientists had declared theoretically impossible. Projectiles accelerated to significant fractions of light speed tore through space. Seth's flagship shuddered as its shields collapsed under the barrage. All ships, emergency retreat. Get us out of range. But it was too late. 2 Coalition cruisers exploded as railgun rounds punched through their hulls. The third managed to jump to FTL, heavily damaged and leaking atmosphere. The support vessels didn't even try to fight. They scattered, jumping to random coordinates just to escape the devastating fire. In Olympus City's command center, Captain Torres allowed himself a grim smile. Status report. All enemy vessels destroyed or retreated, Kim reported. Our casualties are minimal. 3 wounded, no fatalities. Infrastructure damage is light. Torres opened a channel to Earth. General Chen, Mars colony reports successful repulsion of Coalition forces. They came expecting an easy victory. They learned otherwise. Admiral Martinez's counteroffensive. While Mars celebrated its victory, Admiral Sarah Martinez was preparing humanity's real response. She commanded the HDI Retribution, flagship of humanity's secret fleet. The ship hung in the darkness of an uncharted system, surrounded by 40 other vessels that officially didn't exist. Martinez was 52 years old, a veteran of the border conflicts with pirate fleets and rogue colonies. She had spent the last decade preparing for this moment, studying Coalition tactics, analyzing their weaknesses, and developing strategies to exploit them. Admiral, we're receiving reports from Mars, her communications officer announced. Captain Torres successfully repelled the Coalition assault. Martinez nodded. Mars was the bait. Now came the hook. All fleet captains, this is Martinez. Execute Prometheus Protocol Phase 1. Show them what real human ingenuity looks like. Across dozens of star systems, humanity's hidden fleet moved into position. They didn't attack military targets. That's what the Coalition expected. Instead, they targeted infrastructure. The Kepler station was the Coalition's primary trade hub in the outer sectors, a massive installation that processed 70% of interstellar commerce in the region. It was protected by 6 warships and considered invulnerable. Commander Rachel Foster's strike group hit it with a technology the Coalition had never encountered. Human scientists called it quantum displacement weapons. The missiles didn't travel through normal space. They phased partially into quantum dimensions, allowing them to pass through shields and armor as if they didn't exist. The Coalition defenders never saw the missiles coming. One moment, Kepler station was operating normally. The next, its reactor cores were detonating as quantum missiles materialized inside critical systems. 6,000 Coalition personnel evacuated before the station broke apart. Foster had given them time deliberately. This wasn't about killing, it was about sending a message. Similar attacks happened simultaneously across Coalition space. Trade hubs, communication relays, fuel depots, all carefully selected to cripple Coalition logistics without causing mass casualties. Humanity was demonstrating precision, not brutality. The Reckoning Protocol in Geneva, Secretary General Okoye addressed the United Earth government. As of today, the Reckoning Protocol is fully operational. 30 Coalition installations have been neutralized. Our casualties remain minimal. The Coalition's response has been chaos. Ambassador Helena Vargas stood beside him. She had returned to Earth after her speech, and now served as the architect of humanity's diplomatic strategy during the conflict. The Coalition is fracturing, Helena reported. We're receiving secret communications from 12 species expressing concern about the conflict. They never actually wanted war. They voted for Resolution 7749 because they feared economic retaliation from the elder races. Can we exploit that? Okoye asked, already doing it. We're offering protection and alliance to any species that publicly opposes the resolution. 3 minor species have already agreed. It's not much, but it shows the Coalition isn't as united as they pretend. General Chen entered the chamber, his expression grim but satisfied. Mr. Secretary, I have an update on Coalition fleet movements. They're marshalling a major force, approximately 200 vessels, and they're heading for Earth. The room fell silent. 200 ships was more than humanity's entire official fleet combined. When will they arrive? Okoye asked. 4 days. They're going to hit us with everything they have. Try to force immediate surrender. Helena turned to the general. Can we stop them? Chen smiled coldly. Stop them? No, but we can make them regret coming. Admiral Martinez is already moving into position at the Kepler Junction. We're going to introduce the Coalition to a few more impossible technologies. The secret weapon Admiral Martinez studied the tactical display aboard the Retribution. The Kepler Junction was a natural choke point where multiple FTL routes converged. Any fleet heading to Earth from Coalition core territories had to pass through here. Her fleet of 40 vessels waited in the shadow of a gas giant, powered down to avoid detection. Against 200 Coalition ships, conventional tactics would be suicide. But Martinez wasn't planning a conventional battle. All ships report ready, her tactical officer announced. Displacement drives are charged. Quantum mines are deployed. The displacement drive was humanity's greatest secret. While other species used faster-than-light travel that required predictable entry and exit points, human drives could teleport vessels instantly across short distances. It made human ships nearly impossible to target, and allowed for tactics that defied every known rule of space combat. Coalition fleet entering the junction. Sensors reported. 214 vessels. They're in standard battle formation. Martinez watched them come, noting their confidence. They outnumbered her 5-1. They had heavier ships, more powerful weapons, and centuries more combat experience. They thought this would be a slaughter. They were right, but not in the way they expected. All ships execute displacement pattern Delta, Martinez ordered. Show them what humans can do. The Battle of Kepler Junction. One moment, the Coalition fleet was advancing through empty space. The next, 40 human vessels materialized around them, inside their formation, too close for capital ships to target effectively. Fire, Martinez commanded. The human ships opened up with everything they had. But they weren't targeting the Coalition vessels themselves. They were targeting the quantum mines that had been secretly deployed throughout the junction. The mines detonated, but not with conventional explosions. They released pulses of quantum disruption that played havoc with Coalition shield systems and navigation. Suddenly, the Coalition fleet was blind, their sensors overwhelmed, their shields flickering on and off randomly. And then the human ships disappeared again, displacing to new positions before the Coalition could respond. "What's happening?" High Chancellor Mordeth demanded from his command ship. He had joined the fleet personally to oversee humanity's defeat. "Where did they go?" "They're everywhere," his tactical officer shouted. "They're appearing, firing, and vanishing. Our sensors can't track them. They're using some kind of instantaneous movement technology." Another wave of human vessels appeared, this time behind the Coalition formation. They launched missiles that phased through shields, targeting engines and weapon systems. Dozens of Coalition ships found themselves crippled, unable to fight or flee. "This is impossible," Mordeth whispered. "Technology like this shouldn't exist. Our scientists said instantaneous displacement violated fundamental physics." His science advisor was frantically reviewing data. "High Chancellor, these humans aren't using technology we understand. They've developed entirely new theories, new applications of quantum mechanics. We classified them as primitives, but they've surpassed us in multiple fields." Admiral Martinez watched the Coalition fleet disintegrate into chaos. She had lost 3 ships. The Coalition had lost 47 and counting. But this wasn't about winning the battle. It was about breaking their will. She opened a broad-spectrum channel that every Coalition ship would receive. "Coalition forces, this is Admiral Sarah Martinez of the Human Defense Fleet. You came here to force our surrender. Instead, you're discovering what happens when you underestimate humanity. We gave you a chance for peace. You chose war. Now you're learning the cost." She paused, letting her words sink in. "Your scientists said our technologies were impossible. Your strategists said we couldn't challenge your military might. Your politicians said we would submit. They were all wrong. Humanity doesn't submit. We adapt, we innovate, and we win." Another wave of displacement strikes devastated the Coalition formation. "You wanted to contain us? You've unleashed us. Every species in this galaxy is watching this battle. They're seeing the mighty Coalition broken by humans they were told to fear and suppress. How many more ships will you sacrifice? How many more lives will you throw away trying to cage the uncageable?" The turning point, High Chancellor Mordeth watched his fleet burning around him. 73 ships destroyed or disabled. The humans had lost 8. 8 against 200, and humanity was winning. His communication officer spoke urgently. "High Chancellor, we're receiving emergency transmissions from across Coalition space. More human attacks. They've struck 16 additional targets simultaneously. Fuel refineries, shipyards, communication hubs. Our entire logistics network is collapsing." Mordeth felt something he hadn't experienced in decades. Fear. Real, genuine fear. The Coalition had ruled the galaxy for 3,000 years through a combination of military might and diplomatic pressure. They had never faced a threat like this. "Get me Ambassador Vargas," he ordered. "We need to negotiate." His advisors stared at him in shock. "High Chancellor, we can't surrender. The Coalition has never faced humans before," Mordeth roared. "Look at the tactical display. They're destroying us with 40 ships. What happens when they bring their full fleet to bear? What happens when they deploy more of these impossible weapons?" He slumped in his command chair. "We made a mistake. We thought we were containing a primitive species. We were actually threatening the most dangerous military force in the galaxy. And we did it while they were still friendly to us." Humanity's message ambassador Helena Vargas received the communication from Mordeth while standing in Geneva's war room. She listened to his request for negotiations with no visible emotion. "Tell the High Chancellor I'll meet him in neutral space," she said finally, "but he needs to understand something first." She opened a channel that would broadcast across all Coalition territories. It was time for humanity's message to reach every species in the galaxy. "People of the Galactic Coalition," Helena began, her voice clear and strong. 3 months ago, your leaders voted to contain humanity. They claimed we were too dangerous, too aggressive, too fast-growing. They were right about one thing. We are dangerous, not because we're violent or cruel, but because we refuse to accept limitations that others try to impose on us. Images played behind her, showing the battles at Mars, Kepler Junction, and dozens of other sites. Your leaders tried to cage us without understanding what they were dealing with. Humans have spent our entire history breaking cages. We broke free from caves and conquered a planet. We broke free from our planet and reached the stars, and will break free from anyone who tries to hold us back. Helena's expression softened. But we're not conquerors. We're not interested in ruling the galaxy or subjugating other species. We just want to be free to grow, to explore, to reach our potential. That's all we've ever wanted. She looked directly into the camera. The coalition's leaders made choices based on fear and greed. They wanted to control our resources and limit our competition. They gambled that we couldn't fight back. They were wrong, and now they're paying the price. But this doesn't have to continue. We can end this war right now. Helena held up a datapad. Here are humanity's terms. 1. Complete withdrawal of Resolution 7749. 2. Formal recognition of human sovereignty over all our territories. 3. The return of colonies and resources seized under the resolution. 4. Reparations for the colonists killed at Mars. And 5. A new treaty establishing humanity as a full coalition member with all associated rights and protections. She set down the pad. These aren't negotiable. Your leaders have 72 hours to accept. If they refuse, we'll continue operations until the coalition is no longer capable of threatening us. We don't want to destroy you, but we will if we must. The choice is yours. The galaxy watches across coalition space, the message played on billions of screens. Species that had never questioned the coalition's authority watched humans dictate terms to the most powerful government in the galaxy. In the Krathi warrior halls, Warchief Drain watched with fierce approval. The Krathi had always respected strength, and humanity was demonstrating strength beyond anything he had imagined. On the Mirren homeworld, the Planetary Council held an emergency session. The humans are right, Councillor Vex argued. We voted out of fear, not principle. They've never harmed us. They've only helped us. Yet we sided with those who wanted to cage them. Similar conversations happened on dozens of worlds. The Coalition's unity was cracking. The cost of Pride High Chancellor Mordeth sat in his personal quarters aboard his damaged flagship. Around him, the Coalition's military might lay in ruins. In 3 months of conflict, humanity had destroyed or damaged nearly 400 Coalition vessels while losing fewer than 30 of their own. But the military defeat wasn't what broke him. It was the realization of what the Coalition had become. Once, they had stood for cooperation and mutual growth. Now they had tried to enslave a species out of fear and greed, and that species had shown them exactly what happened when you pushed too hard. His communication panel chimed. Ambassador Vargas's face appeared. High Chancellor, she said quietly. Have you made your decision? Mordeth looked at her, this human who had warned him this would happen. We accept your terms. All of them. I'll present them to the Coalition Council within the hour, and Resolution 7749 will be formally rescinded and stricken from our records. Humanity will receive full Coalition membership rights, along with written guarantees that no such resolution can ever be imposed on any member species again. Mordeth paused. Ambassador, I need to know. How long have you been preparing for this? Helena smiled slightly. From the moment we joined the Coalition, Chancellor. We learned from history. Power respects strength, not pleas. We built our strength in secret and hoped we'd never need to use it. You made sure we did. We underestimated you catastrophically. Yes, you did. You thought studying our past would tell you our future, but humanity's defining trait isn't violence or aggression. It's adaptation. We become what we need to be to survive. You made us into warriors. That's on you. Mordeth nodded slowly. What happens now? Now we rebuild, Helena said. The Coalition continues, but with reforms. Real representation for all species. Protections against what you tried to do to us. And humanity takes its place as an equal partner, not a subordinate or a threat. We can build something better together, but only if you're willing to treat us with the respect we've earned. The New Dawn 6 months after the Reckoning Protocol began, Ambassador Helena Vargas stood once again in the Grand Coalition Assembly Hall. But this time was different. The human delegation platform had been moved from the outer ring to the inner circle, a place reserved for elder species. High Chancellor Mordeth addressed the assembled species. Today we ratify a new charter, one that guarantees the rights of all members, not just the powerful. One that recognizes strength and innovation should be celebrated, not feared. And one that acknowledges humanity's place as a full and equal partner in galactic civilization. The vote was unanimous. Every species approved, some out of genuine support, others out of fear of what happened when they opposed humanity. Helena didn't care about their motivations, only their actions. After the session, she stood on an observation deck, looking out at the stars. General Chen joined her. "We did it," he said quietly. "We're free. We survived," Helena corrected. "And we showed the galaxy that humans can't be caged. But this is just the beginning, David. We've made enemies of some species and worried others. We'll need to prove we're not the threat they feared. And if they come after us again?" Helena's reflection in the window smiled grimly. "Then we remind them of the reckoning. We remind them that humanity, pushed too far, becomes unstoppable. We remind them that we didn't want this war, but we damn sure knew how to win it." She turned to face him. "But more than that, we show them something better. We show them that humans can be the best allies they've ever had. We share our technology, our innovation, our stubborn refusal to quit. We help build something greater than any single species could achieve." General Chen nodded. "Peace through strength. Peace through respect," Helena corrected. "They respect us now. They learned the hard way, but they learned. Now we make sure they never forget." Far above them, humanity's fleet stood guard over Earth and the colonies. 200 vessels that had been secret were now displayed proudly. A warning and a promise. "We can defend ourselves. Don't make us prove it again." On worlds across Coalition space, humans and aliens worked together, building new relationships based on equality rather than hierarchy. The old order had been shattered. Something new was emerging from its ruins, and at the center of it all was humanity. No longer the newcomers or the primitives or the contained. They were the species that had been pushed and pushed back so hard that the entire galaxy had to change. The Council had crossed the line. They had overstepped, and humanity's rage had exploded in a way that rewrote galactic history. The reckoning had come, and the galaxy would never be the same.